The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
The Attitude Era is widely considered by many as the greatest product the WWE has ever had. Now, relive the entire journey with exclusive commentary, insights, and episodic discussion with head writer Vince Russo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Raw, What It Was Good For. We're going to be looking at May 4th, 1998 in the first show of a 2016. So much to talk about here, bro. I just, oh my God, Jeff, I say this every week. I'm such at a disadvantage of watching the shows back to back because like all that go through my mind are Triple H's ignorant words of "it's a different time," which has nothing to do with putting a good television show together, bro. It has nothing to do with it. And I watch the shows back to back, and I'm like, Triple H, honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself to use as an excuse it's a different time when.
But we start off with the Love Shack, and Mick Foley comes out and he's wearing his flannel, like more Cactus Jack stuff than he is. I mean, he's not wearing any Dude Love stuff. So he says, cut the music. It makes him sick. He's upset because he beat Steve Austin at the pay-per-view. Yes, it was by disqualification. He didn't win the title, but he beat him. And then he's mad because the next night Goldust gets the title shot and not him. And then he's told WWF has informed him that tonight he's wrestling Terry Funk in a no-holds-barred, anything goes, falls count anywhere match. In his mind, he's thinking Vince McMahon is making this match to let those two kill each other, and he won't have to worry about Mick Foley anymore. But he says he's not going to suck up to a lowlife like Vince McMahon. He's not going to let his wife and kids see him bumping and grinding with a couple of second-rate strippers on national television. And
which I talked about last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he'll be damned if he ever performs in the Dude Love attire again. And he calls out Vince McMahon now because he says Cactus Jack wants answers. Vince is about to come out. JR throws in a quick mention that match with Terry Funk, Steve Austin is going to be the guest commentator for that match. So Vince McMahon comes out. Mick Foley takes his Dude Love attire, throws it in Vince's face, says he's not going to wear it again. Vince says he didn't get the job done at Unforgiven because the job was to, win the belt. Austin's still the WWF champion. He says he's rewarding him by putting him in the match with Terry Funk. And then he starts to go into like this pep talk and pumping him up. And you see Mick Foley like, like it's pumping him up. He says, if you destroy your best friend tonight, you'll make the kind of sacrifice that a number one contender should make. He says, when I came out here, you threw Dude Love in my face. Now I'm throwing the truth in yours. And he slaps Mick, and Mick's really pumped up and he's ready to do this fight. So obviously Vince is manipulating him here to his agenda. At this point, Steve Austin's music hits. He comes out with a grappling hook. He destroys the set. He throws the grappling hook, pulls down the bus. Vince McMahon's backpedaling down the ramp. And Austin destroys everything, and then he chases him down, and Vince grabs the ring bell and the mallet, and that was kind of funny. And Austin's just going nuts in the ring.
Here's the word, and it's one word, bro. And again, I'm glad you saw the opening segment last night because we're going to use that as an example. It's one word, bro. It's passion. Okay, but Jeff, it's passion. It's a two-part passion. It's passion in the writing, it's passion in the storytelling, and it's passion in the performances. When you watch this scene, Austin, Vince, Mick are in the moment. Like this is really happening. They're actors. This is like how you would see a De Niro or a Tom Cruise or any of the great actors. They're in the scene, bro. They're in the moment. They're so into what they're doing. It's believable. Okay, when a piece like this is getting written, you're making sure like all the freaking bases are covered, bro. You're trying, bro. There are gonna be some holes. You're gonna miss some things, bro. They miss some things in Lost. They miss some things in the best TV shows out there, but you're going to try your best to cover all the holes. And passion.
But you look at this, and all three of these guys, and you said it, a few minutes ago. You look at Mick's face. You look at Vince's face. You look at Austin's face. I don't even think Austin said anything in this, right? I mean, he was just destroying stuff. But, I mean, it's just all like it's not hokey. It's like these guys they're showing emotion. Mick went from totally pissed off. Vince McMahon comes out, gives him, like JR referred to it like as the Vince Lombardi talk, or Michael Cole did, one of them did, and he's giving him the pep talk. And you can see the emotion change in Mick's face from how pissed off he was till, you know what, right, you're right, I am going to destroy Terry Funk, and I am going to be the number one contender after tonight. You're absolutely right. You could totally see that in his face. He didn't have to say a word. You know what I mean? You saw it change in his face, and I don't know if people can do that today.
I don't either, bro. I don't either.
So we're set up now. We know the main event. JR made sure to let the audience know Steve Austin is going to be on commentary for this match, and we know that if Mick wins, he's the number one contender. So next is The Rock and Owen Hart, who is now in the nation after last show's events, versus Steve Blackman and Farooq. And JR says that Ken Shamrock is in a cast. He's going to be out of action for several weeks after what Owen did to his ankle last week. Commissioner Slaughter comes out before the match starts, sends the nation to the locker room, which becomes a theme for the night. And then Owen and The Rock end up getting the win because Jeff Jarrett comes down. It hits Steve Blackman, which allows Owen
Jeff, can I interrupt you there? You know what's so funny, bro? Like, and Jeff, this is such a small little detail. And like, there are so many things to fix before you even come to this. There was a segment last night where Dolph Ziggler has a match with Heath Slater. Okay. Heath Slater comes out with the Jabron crew. Axel, what's his name? Curtis Axel. The Rose guy, and Bo Leave. So the four of them come out to the stage. Slater's got a match with Ziggler, right? The four of them cut out to the stage. They cut this promo, bro. They're going to be the next big force in wrestling. Meanwhile, combined, these four guys have 2 wins over the last 4 years, but now they're going to be the force to be reckoned with. But, bro, here's the thing, like, Jeff. So all 4 of them go down to the ring. Slater has the match with Ziggler, and, like, Bo's on one side, Axel's on the other side, and Rose. So like I'm just sitting there and I'm saying, like, why is the referee like allowing these guys to just hang out ringside? Like, bro, that is so far from with the problems they have. Like, that is such a small minutia. But I'm like, why? Like, why do these guys have no business in the match whatsoever? Why?
Yeah. It just brings me back to like the old days. They would always pull out the manager's license.
Yeah. He's got the manager's license.
Yeah.
But then of course I'm watching the Attitude Era today. Nope, you got to go. And I'm like, again, it goes back to the casual fan, because Joe Blow sitting at home is saying, why are those guys, like, why are these jabrones allowed? And of course the jabrones are involved in the finish and yada yada yada. But
and that's one huge psychology element that's been taken out of the match is the referees. They're just a prop, man. You know what I mean? They're there to count the 3. They have no law and order in the ring anymore. The wrestlers don't listen to them when they're telling them to break holds. No matter what they do, it doesn't matter. And that's the problem. You watch a lot of these matches, the referee is the law and order in the ring.
All right, go ahead, bro. What I liked about this match, Jeff, was I love the fact that Michael Cole was explaining. I talked to Owen during the week. Owen says he has a family now. Everything I said last week, now Michael Cole is making sure everybody understands why Owen joined the nation.
Next is there's many highlights on the show for me. This is one of them. The Gerald Brisco video package. I mean, there was so many great things about this. The fact that it was narrated by Vince McMahon, okay, doing his old like announcer voice, like, you know what I mean? He's announcing like Gerald Brisco's the greatest thing in the world. And then Brisco Everything I own in this entire world, I owe to one man. I'd like to publicly thank that man today. Probably the finest human being I've met in my entire life. The owner of the World Wrestling Federation, Mr. McMahon. Thank you very much. This was a masterpiece, dude. I absolutely love this.
Jeff,
what are your thoughts on that?
Are you aware of back in the day? Jeff, I swear to God, if there was one thing I wish I could take credit for, this would be it. Because I thought this, not this piece, what I'm about to tell you, I thought this was the greatest thing that I had ever heard in my life. Okay. And bro, we actually had the t-shirts made. Do you remember what the Brisco Brothers Body Shop tagline was?
No, I remember that he wore a shirt though.
Jeff, I don't know who came up with this. I really don't, because I'd love to give them credit for it. Maybe it was Pritchard. I don't know. But Jeff, the greatest thing in my 20 years of wrestling that I wish I could take ownage of was the Brisco Brother tagline for the auto body shop was Brisco Brothers Body Shop. It's worth the drive. Jeff, to this day, Austin 316, to this day, it's worth the drive to bring your car to Brisco Brothers Body Shop. Whether I'm assuming it's in Florida. So whether you live in New York or California, it's worth the drive to bring your car there for the body work. But Jeff, you know what the thing is with this? Like, here's what I want to point out. Just, bro, there are so many little pieces of creativity on this show. Like, we're going to get to the Paul Bearer thing in a second, which is ridiculous. But like something like this, bro, this is like just a piece of creativity that the casual fan is going to sit at home saying like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, where has that gone? Where has that gone? I mean, my God, bro, like where has that gone?
You know, I feel like the only time recently they've tried something like this was the Nikki Bella growing up Bella things. Like they were going for this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, nobody on the internet got it. Like, oh, that was horrible. Well, you morons, it was supposed to be horrible. That was the point.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it wasn't good, but I think that's the last time they've tried to do something like this. You know what I mean?
But this was just absolutely freaking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, bro.
Like this whole puff piece to make Brisco look great, and then they throw in the line if you need a fender repaired or upholstery replaced. Like, so next was an Edge vignette, and this is the first one we've seen. Like I said, I think it looked like to me they cut one out of the pay-per-view on the network. But we get a look of Edge on the subway, sitting by himself. He's beating up people on the street. Another example of while we get a Val Venis one later, and I'm pretty sure he's about to debut any week now. But here we go again with. You're going to know this guy before he comes out and wrestles. When he comes out and wrestles for the first time.
Jeff, I was saying the exact same thing. We were just talking about AJ Styles and Professor Toru Tanaka, whether they're on NXT or they're just going to come out and we're going to assume we know who they are because the internet wrestling. Bro, we have two vignettes going on at once. One isn't enough. You've seen Val for weeks and weeks and weeks. We know Val's going to make his debut, but while the Val Venis vignettes are running, now we got a vignette for another guy coming in. Again, bro. Again, I'm going to beg the question again. Can this not be done because it's a different time?
It's effort. So is there anything like you remember about these vignettes with
just the big different feel we wanted to give this, bro, was a woman voiceover. I don't think there had ever been a woman voicing over anything before. So, like, that was the thing we really wanted for it to be different. You know, this definitely was a David Zahadi piece. I mean, no question about it. But you know, again, I thought it was just, you know, well done. And I mean, bro, I have very little to do with the vignettes. I basically, you know, talk to Zahadi, tell him what we're looking for, and then, you know, they run with it. So, you know, I just thought it was really well done. And I just love the fact that we have two vignettes going on at once.
Next, we're supposed to have a New Age Outlaws defending their tag belts versus DOA. So first, DX comes out, continue to cut their lines to, you know, the Outlaws. They're starting to get the ladies and gentlemen, you know, boys and girls, children of all ages. That's starting to get over at this point. But Triple H is stay off my grass, but don't be afraid to stop by and whack the weed. I just that was hilarious.
I know I wrote that. Bro, you know, like people have to understand. I watch Mick Foley's promo, bro. I did not need to write a word for Mick Foley. So like Mick Foley's going on, I did not write any of that. I know I didn't write any of that. Did not write any of Vince's. But the early stages of DX, when we're really trying to get them over, a lot of this was like literally written for verbatim, especially for Triple H, bro. Not so much Road Dogg, you know, he did a lot of that stuff on his own, but you know, a lot of these lines were specifically written for Triple H because we're just going through the stages of getting them over.
So at this point, LOD comes out and they challenge to change the match to an 8-man match, and X-Pac accepts this, and then, you know, Hawk says, or Animal, one of them said that they want X-Pac in the match because he hasn't wrestled yet since he's been back. So he says he's going to wrestle. There's some back and forth between the LOD. Hawk called them a bunch of dingleberries hanging from somebody's hairy butt. I don't remember the exact phrase. And then Triple H made fun of one of Hawk's. You can't see his dong because of his gut.
Yeah, but bro, Hawk went on a roll here. He, you know, we had Mr. Ass, Mr. Hole, Mr. Nose, and just plain Mr. referring to China. And bro, what popped me huge was, and bro, did I not tell you this story 2 weeks ago? Freaking Animal could not say X-Pac. And he referred to him as X-Pac, and he caught himself and said X-Pac, X-Lax, whoever you are. But bro, what bro? It's amazing to me that in 1998 nobody could say X-Pac. You know what I mean, bro? Just amazing to me. It was just so freaking funny. But bro, at the end of that, when you're talking about, you know, you can't see your wiener under the drum, bro, they were shooting from the cuff on all that stuff towards the end. I mean, you could really tell when X-Pac gave him the old, you know, down there, whatever, and Animal came back with I can't see it. Like all of that was off script. I mean, I could tell you right now, bro. Here's where I think a big hole was. You know, now that I look back, I wish there would have been more of a story of Sonny being a part of LOD. You know what I'm saying? I wish there would have been more of a backstory because remember, they were fighting and then all of a sudden they just showed up with her. I wish we would have interviewed her, got more of a backstory there. We dropped the ball on that. I mean, that's something that did get lost in the crack. That if I could do it over, you know, I mean, I would have tightened that up a lot.
At this point, I had it written down. I ended up erasing it because it was addressed, but that's what I liked. I'm sitting here and I'm like, this makes DOA look stupid because this was supposed to be a tag team title match. Right. That's what I'm thinking. And then it's addressed later. I mean, you don't get things like that addressed today. So the fact that was pointed out, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I went back and I erased my comment, but I wanted to put that down because, you know, that's what I'm thinking at the time.
Right.
So the fact that it was covered, I thought that was great.
Yep.
So then we get a replay of Paul Bearer revealing Kane as his son last week, and they let us know that after the next match, we're going to have an exclusive interview with Paul Bearer. And the match was Dan Severn versus Savio Vega. And I thought this was really interesting that they plugged the UFC pay-per-view. Like, I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, and I wish I could tell you why, bro. I don't know what the relationship was. I wasn't involved in that, bro.
Yeah, especially you look at it now and you think about how much pay-per-view business they ended up taking away from the WWE. And here they are plugging them in 1998. You know what I mean? So I thought that was strange. Severn is no longer with Jim Cornette, you know, after he attacked him last week. And Severn beat Savio Vega with the armbar submission.
Bro, one thing I want to point out here is Savio was the workhorse. Savio was the great worker that you put him in there with guys to make them look good. That's who Savio was. Bro, remember, back up before Austin started getting over, he had a long program with Savio. Austin will be the first one to tell you. Savio Vega had a lot to do with my success. And also, bro, keep in mind, too, we're holding the people there with the Paul Bearer interview after this.
So next, we see it looks like a bumper for Jerry Lawler's going to interview Paul Bearer next, okay? But after the promo and the bumper and the tease, the camera stays on. We don't go to commercial. And Lawler and Paul Bearer are unaware. So Lawler wants details of Paul Bearer nailing the Undertaker's mom. So Paul Bearer gives him the details. He said he was 19. He went out for a few beers, which I thought was funny. He's 19 out having beers, you know what I mean? So he's not even legal. He goes back to the funeral home, you know. And
well, wait, bro, before you get to that, though, like, he goes more into detail. He had never been with a woman before. And, bro, here was my favorite. He was kind of studly back then, which like
he said I wasn't fat. He said
even Lawler, like, you know, almost like I was kind of studly back then. Oh my! Can you imagine Paul Bearer ever being studly in his life, bro?
That's awesome. And he says he comes back to the funeral home, and there she was in a little Teddy outfit.
Yeah,
and she took him right on the kitchen floor of the apartment at the funeral home. Took his virginity right there, and he said. He hears the footsteps, and it was Little Taker coming down the stairs, and he's lucky that he heard him and got up and stopped him, because if Little Taker would have taken 2 more steps, he would have seen his mama's feet. One was in New York, and the other was in L.A. And dude, I have never forgotten this line. That line was engraved in my memory ever since I heard it. I even texted my college roommate yesterday, and I said the episode we're doing today is the Undertaker's mom, one foot in New York and the other in LA show. And we always talked about this. It was just a great line.
Yeah.
And the time you said on Chicken Necks that one of your balls was in New York and the other was in Fort Lauderdale, that took me right to this. This is what I thought of. So I don't know. To me, I was like, that was even after all the Val Venis.
And bro, I will tell you, I will tell you right now, I gave him that, and that's where I say the balls. But I will tell you, because I have no problem saying this, bro, I ripped that line so directly off. Bro, Michael Keaton's first movie was a movie called Night Shift. You remember this movie?
I've never seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Bro, it was Michael Keaton's first appearance, and he was freaking... Bro, it's one of the movies I own on DVD. That's how good Michael Keaton is. And I'll never forget... He's at the barbershop, you know, getting a haircut and a shave or whatever, and he starts cutting a promo on the barber that one sideburn is in New York, the other sideburn is in Fort Lauderdale. So I took that line from that movie and used it like till I'm 54 years old, bro, for pertaining to my balls and Paul Bearer's mother. But bro, what about you? What about Lawler, bro? That it almost seemed like, Jeff, he was waiting like just his whole career to use these lines in some kind of a promo, because the way he comes back with, you know, first he said, you know, you slipped out of salami, and then right after that you buried your baloney. Like, yeah, it's like he was waiting his whole career to just be able to say these things. But Jeff, again, like, I go to the creativity and just the different levels we were thinking on. Like, we could have said, okay, Paul Bearer's going to cut a very serious promo. But then, like, we're there, and it's the old, well, what if? Like, what if they don't? You know what I'm saying? But, bro, what I'm trying to point out is the level of thought we put into the show. That's all that I'm trying to point out. And that has nothing to do with it being a different time or a different year or a different decade. That has everything to do with the work we put into the show.
And like I said, that line, I mean, I'm not just saying that. Go listen to the show we did last week or the week before. I brought up this line. I said, I know we're coming up to this line because it has been ingrained in my memory ever since. I was like, that's insane. And then it gets even better when they come back from commercial. Okay. So Lawler's apologizing, and he's apologizing like a kid in front of a class. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, looks like a little child that just got screamed at, you know what I mean, and hit with a belt or something. And the apology just made it even better because he was so serious. And I apologize if this offended everyone. Like, I just got such a kick out of that.
You know what's so funny? Here's the funny thing, Jeff. Listen to me. You look at JR, and we're going to get into him later with Austin. You look at Jerry Lawler, okay? You look at everything they did and added to the show. Okay, now, You look at the 3 announces on Raw, you ask yourself 2 questions, because this is supposed to be entertainment, bro. This is not real. You ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, are any of those 3 capable of bringing the entertainment to the show like JR and the King were? Number 1. And number 2, if the answer is no, then why are they there? What if they're not going to add to the entertainment aspect of the show? Why are they there? This is fake. This is not real. Lawler and JR were entertainers. They were performers. You got 3 announcers. None of them are capable of doing stuff like this. That takes away an entire element from the show. And again, it just goes back to different time. No, get announcers that are able to pull the same stuff off. Which brings us right to the next segment, Sable's workout. Bro, but my point is, bro, I mean, come on, Jeff, you can't. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of you. And I'm like, Jeff, all due respect, Becky, and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, come on. I mean, bro, please.
I have never once compared her to Sable. Let's get that out of the way.
But, bro, here's my point. Forget about all that. What about her passion during these workouts? You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, you talk about going through the motions and really believing I'm fighting Mero next week. Her passion while she was working out, and bro, she did not go through formal training. I mean, it's like, bro, it's kind of like you either get it or you don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Sable, you're fighting she wasn't, the storyline wasn't she was married to him, was it? Was she married to him in the story?
I don't think so. Like that, they haven't said. They never once have called him her husband or anything like that.
But the story was, you're telling her you're fighting him next week. So then she does this, and you believe, holy crap, does she have a chance? But bro,
you think anybody from the ages of 14 to 50 turned the channel when this video was on?
Bro, please.
It's supposed to be Mark Mero versus Jeff Jarrett.
I love the way too, Jeff, they're referring to it as a public confrontation.
Yeah. Because
they can't call it a match or anything because it's a man and a woman. So it's going to be a public confrontation, which I really dug.
So Steve Blackman runs in here before the match even starts. So the match doesn't happen. He attacks Jarrett. This is obviously because Jarrett cost him the match earlier in the night. So Blackman whips on Jarrett on the floor. Referees have to pull him off. Match is thrown out. Next is the 8-man tag. And this is where they pointed out. Lawler says DOA must be dumb because LOD talked them into giving up their tag title shot to get into this match. So it was addressed right then and there. So the referee throws Sonny out. Then he goes to throw Chyna out. But Triple H is like, no, she's wrestling. And JR is like, did Triple H say she's wrestling? So then X-Pac says, I'll leave. Chyna's in the match. He gets real heated in the referee's face. I thought that was good. So X-Pac leaves, and Chyna's in the match.
And how awesome is it, Jeff, that there was so much going on in this show, we didn't even have to promote that Chyna was going to wrestle. I mean, can you imagine, bro? Like, I was like, holy crap, Chyna's going to wrestle? We didn't even have to promote that, bro, because of everything else that was going on. That's unbelievable, man.
I believe this is her first match.
It was.
Yeah. So X-Pac leaves. The end of the match, well, I guess it is the end of the match. The match gets thrown out because DOA and LOD start arguing on the ring apron, and then they get into this enormous brawl.
Bro, can you imagine? Fast forward to 2015. It's not an enormous brawl between DOA and LOD. They're doing high spots on each other, bro. Can you imagine, bro? Like, can you imagine, bro? Listen. How many times do I say something and it comes absolutely true? How long have I been telling you? I've known these guys, DOA, the Harris brothers. And, bro, I'm going to go one step further. Like, I had a couple conversations with them in the last couple of weeks. Forget about being able to tell them apart. Like, when I'm on the phone, I don't know if I'm talking to Ron or Don. Like, I can't call them by name because I don't know who I'm talking to. I really don't. Bro, JR says in the match, he don't know who's who. I think that's 8-Ball. We're gonna assume that that's 8-Ball. I mean, bro, how hysterical is that? Like that, I mean, I don't know what it is with those two guys, bro. Like that, I swear to God, bro. 20-something years later, I don't know who's who. I don't know who I'm talking to. It's freaking frightening, bro.
Yeah, especially you look at twins long enough, you can tell them apart. Even if you don't know them, you see them on TV like the Bellas. You know what I mean? You just tell them apart. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've never been able to. But
I love the way JR covers himself because he really doesn't know. So like in his mind, it's like if the people at home know and I got the wrong guy, I'm going to look like an idiot. So he just says, I think it's 8-Ball. I just thought that was hysterical, bro.
They go to commercial and we come back and they show that during the break, the brawl continued backstage. So they were destroying sets backstage and fighting backstage. But, you know, that's something we always talk about, how there's a show going on back there too. You would assume if today's thing, okay, they leave the arena, you know, and go in the back and it's done. It's done.
Bro, I'm laughing because I'm a line ahead of you. And I'm seeing Goldust and Kane. And then I'm reading this JR line. You brought it up, buddy. You brought it up, buddy boy. That salami business. I mean, my God, bro. Bro, you know what it is, Jeff? They underestimate the casual wrestling audience. Like, I think, you know, it's like, I think people think, Jeff, that like you and I, like we're the only two that pick up these nuances. Listen, I hate to break the news to you. The casual television viewer is on a whole other level from the internet wrestling audience that you're writing the show from. These things are picked up. JR calling him buddy boy, he's doing that on purpose, bro. He's doing it because, first of all, he's trying to pop King. First of all, and just JR saying, buddy boy, you started with that salami business. You know King's cracking up off camera. That's what they're trying to do. There's so many layers to what you're watching, bro. And like you watch today's show, it's like just a flat line. It's like, you know, I mean, my God, bro. Oh, man.
So Goldust versus Kane is next. And JR, he wonders if this is punishment from Vince McMahon because Goldust didn't beat Austin last week.
Great, man.
So during the match, The Undertaker comes down the ramp. He attacks Paul Bearer, and then they start to fight up the ramp. Here comes WWF officials. Here comes referees. They're trying to pull them apart. It's not really working. Undertaker ends up turning around and socking Commissioner Slaughter. They made sure to point that out, so I'm assuming something will come with this. I don't remember, honestly. But he laid out the commissioner, and they end up going through the curtain.
Jeff, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Notice there's a lot of brawling in this show. And I'm going to lay out 3 brawls, okay? The first one we saw, obviously, was LOD and DOA. We saw a brawl here with Taker and Kane, and we're going to see a hell of a brawl later on with 53-year-old Terry Funk and Mick Foley. Okay, bro. They're brawls. They're brawls. You know why they're brawls, Jeff? Because they're personal. The brawls make it personal. You know, DOA, it kind of sinks in now. These SOBs took a, now it becomes personal. Taker and Kane, it's personal. Now Mick Foley, listen, you're my friend, but I want that title shot, and that's, it's all personal. When it's high spots, like, how is it personal? Like, how I mean, that psychological point alone, bro, how do you make high spots personal? You know, last week, Kevin Owens beat the crap out of Neville, okay? Last night, Neville's going to the top rope. Owens is on the outside, and he's doing a flip-de-doo off the top to the – how is that personal? Like, I don't understand that. Personal is a punch in the face. I mean, that's personal, not I'm going to make this look pretty. There was nothing pretty about this brawling, which makes it feel personal. It's just an element that's missing.
You look at the last year of Raws, and the only thing that comes to mind about legitimate heat, like coming across between two participants, was The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar when they did that giant pull apart. There's no wrestling moves in that. It's like just like you're saying. So next we see a Mick Foley and Terry Funk video package.
That was great, man. That again, that probably wasn't Zahadi. That was probably the producers in the studio, but that was great, bro. That was tremendous.
So if you didn't understand these two relationship before this match, you definitely understood it now. Then we have the famous Val Venis with Jenna Jameson vignette,
which I was surprised with, bro, because I thought they all got cut. This one saw the light of day, which I was very, very surprised and happy to see this.
Yeah. So anything you remember? I mean, I know you've told the story why, like, you wanted her to come in, right, as this valet, and Vince thought she was ugly.
Yeah, no, bro. We had her in the bathtub with Val. I mean, we had so much other stuff with her, and Vince cut it all out because he thought she was ugly. So I mean, I was happy that we got away, with this. And bro, I mean, you could see, like, bro, there's no question she was totally topless, like during this vignette. I don't know how we shot that without seeing anything, because that was probably the closest you'd ever come to. How did they? She had nothing on. I mean, it was crystal clear, bro.
So when this idea is coming around, okay, let's get Jenna Jameson. Like, how do you even go about, like, getting this to fruition? Like, how do you get Jenna Jameson in there to do this?
Well, at that point, bro, like, Pritchard is talent relations and he's working with JR. So I don't know. I'm sure Bruce got her. I have no idea how. I mean, I'm not involved in that. We just kind of come up with the idea to get her, and then they get her,
Yeah, that's just insane how that stuff happens so easily. Like you were talking about with getting the rocket launcher and all. Okay, one rocket launcher. Here's a rocket launcher. Yeah. Okay. So next is the main event. It's Mick Foley versus Terry Funk. If Foley wins, he's the #1 contender. Steve Austin's on commentary. Nice surprise here as Pat Patterson is introduced as the guest referee. Obviously here's McMahon's influence again, messing with everything that's going on involving the title. So during the match, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm probably going to miss stuff. So we'll go back to you with anything here. But we start to hear technical difficulties with Austin's mic. Austin's not stupid. Vince McMahon is screwing with him while he's out there. He gets mad. He tries to take Lawler's headset. Same thing happens. So he knocks out Lawler. So Lawler's gone. He ends up running away. Later on, he's blaming JR. I don't have a button, Steve. I'm not pressing anything. But this match goes all over the place. It goes out into the crowd. They have these vendor stands set up. So they beat up the vendors. They fight there. They go backstage. This was one of the first. This may be the first time here in the Attitude Era anyway, where they do the whole start in the arena, go through the backstage, come out another entrance, and you're back into the arena. This is something that I think becomes a great visual as we go on through the Attitude Era. I remember this happening a lot, especially with these Anything Goes matches, always heading backstage and coming back out.
Bro, you got to understand, Jeff, when you go to these arenas, first of all, it's the WWE. So obviously when it was TNA at Universal Studios, Universal trumps TNA, we couldn't do anything, bro. I used to have to sneak around and go behind people's backs, and I always used to get caught, and I always used to get into trouble. You got to understand, when the WWE goes into these buildings, bro, they have access to everything. Every single part of the building. These buildings are huge. I don't think people understand that, Jeff. When you go to a concert or a sporting event, you kind of, just go in and you go into the arena. You have no idea backstage of these huge arenas, the spots you can find, the different looks. They're huge. Every building the WWE goes to, they have access to these arenas. Jeff, the first thing I used to do when I used to arrive at the scene, the very, very first thing before the production meeting was I used to walk around the building and really find like unique settings where we could shoot things, I used to scout out the whole building because I wanted every show, like, give it a different look. Bring it someplace else like we've not seen before. Again, I hate to be a broken record, but a different time doesn't stop you from doing that. And bro, everything with the WWE is in the arena or in that one room. in the arena.
Red curtain
in
in
that, that's it. That's it. I don't understand the excuse for that unless people are lazy and they don't want to do the work.
Foley wins after he pile drives Funk on a chair, and then the match is over, and Foley continues to grab his head and slam it into the chair, which that's a brutal visual. You know what I mean? That's what you're talking about. He didn't go up top and do a moonsault on him or anything. You know what I mean? He's bashing his face into a chair. So Austin gets in the ring at this point. I know I missed the spot when they almost tipped over Austin's beer. JR points it out. And that was hilarious. Yeah. But Austin gets in the ring, throws a beer in Foley's face. So Pat Patterson steps between them, and Foley puts the mandible claw on Patterson, takes him down, realizes it's Pat Patterson, lets him go, gets face-to-face with Austin. So Pat Patterson gets up, grabs a chair, and he's sneaking behind Austin like he's going to rail him with a chair. Austin sees him coming, turns around, gives him the stunner. Foley starts walking up the ramp. While he's doing this, Dude Loves music hits. Vince McMahon comes out with the same two girls that were with Dude last week. He's got the Dude Love attire. He's got the two girls. He hugs Mick. He hands him the stuff, and they both start dancing with the girls. And Vince dancing with these girls. I mean, this is another one I just don't forget. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen is Vince McMahon dancing with these chicks. And JR was like, oh, good grief, or whatever he said, like just totally sold it. And we go off the air with this. So,
bro,
there's so much that went on here. So let's.
Well, you know what the beauty at the end of is, bro, and you really have to know it, like, and you really have to be there to understand the beauty at the end, bro. These are the little. Listen, I'm going to tell the brand right now. This is why you pay for this show, so you can really understand what was going on behind the scenes, bro. What's going on here, Jeff, is Austin's really laughing. And Vince is really trying to make Austin laugh. That's what's going on, bro. Austin is legitimately laughing at Vince dancing, and Vince is trying to make Austin laugh. Those are the things, bro, like you really have to know, like, in order to appreciate it, bro. Because, bro, the last thing Austin should have been doing was laughing. He could not help himself. And Vince knew he had him. And, bro, this is a scene like they'll go in the back and Austin will just say to him, like, you SOB, you got me. That's what Austin will say. But it's clear he's legitimately laughing. And when Vince sees this, he's just pouring it on. But, bro, I love the Austin. First of all, what was Austin's fixation with Pat Patterson's cute little haircut, which he put out 3 times.
Yeah, his stupid little haircut. Yeah,
but bro, he was my favorite Austin line that popped me when they were over. They almost tipped the beer, and Mick Foley wanted Austin, and Austin said to Foley, "I'll beat your ass when you've done something." I thought that was great. But bro, here's the beauty of this, and this is what I talked about. We started the show. Just freaking Austin knowing I'm not wrestling tonight. I don't have a match. They're putting me on color. They're giving me this time to get myself over. And just go back, bro. There's no gaps. He's never not talking through this whole thing. In his mind, money, 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 real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. Get over, get over, get over. It's like I said, bro, the athletes you have today, they don't even comprehend that level.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, he put over both of those guys well in the commentary as well. This is what happens when you piss off a 53-year-old man.
Well, Jeff, you know what they really put over, bro, more than anything, Jeff? The freaking title.
Yeah.
They put that title so over, and what Mick was willing to do just to get another shot. And Austin was doing that. They were, God, go back and listen to it, bro. They were making that title so freaking important. Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this show?
The hot dog guy just got it was also a nice line from JR. Bro. Oh man! I miss this stuff, bro. I just really do. I'm sorry. You know, I just, like I said, bro, it's a curse to watch these shows back to back. It's just a curse because I don't know, man.
But it's like you can't have any. The show doesn't have any fun these days. It's got to be all serious. Like, look how much we laughed during this show. Like, I mean, that was the thing. It was so entertaining, man.
Just the excuse of it's a different time. It just, oh my God, bro. Like, I honestly, if it wasn't Triple H and anybody but him, and you said that, you should just be fired. You should just be fired to use that as an excuse. Because like you said, bro, we watch these shows every Tuesday and we just sit back and enjoy the crap out of them. You know, fast forward 15 years later, not 60. I'm sitting here on Monday nights, bro. I can't wait for the show to end. I want it to be over. There you have it. So next week, May 11th